Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keith Lee. I'm a board member with the Saskatchewan Career Development Association, and we're pleased to present Ellie Tamura, Community Coordinator for ABC Life Literacy Canada, for a professional development session on the adult literacy programs and resources that ABC has to offer. ABC Life Literacy Canada is a nonprofit organization that aims to strengthen organizations that promote adult learning. They develop and support the use of high-quality introductory learning materials and resources written in clear language. ABC Life Literacy envisions a Canada where everyone has the tools and opportunities they need to improve their literacy and essential skills. Please welcome our presenter today, Ellie Tamura.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that introduction. So I'm just going to pull up my PowerPoint right now. So just give me 1 second. All right, so can everybody see the PowerPoint? You can just give like a thumbs up or type a quick yes into the chat. That would be really great. Fabulous. Awesome. Oops. Did I go back? There we go. So hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn session. As Keith mentioned, my name is Ellie, and I'm a community coordinator at ABC Life Literacy Canada. First off, I want to say a huge thank you to the Saskatchewan Career Development Association for inviting me here to speak with you today. I also want to say a huge thank you to Keith and everyone else here for taking the time to come to this meeting. While our goal at ABC has always been to support literacy practitioners, since COVID, we've really made this the focus of our organization this year by collaborating with organizations across Canada and updating our resources to fit the various community needs. The goal of this meeting is to discuss what we can offer to you, but also to hear what kind of resources and support you're looking for as well. So we'll have a Q&A section at the end of this presentation. I'd also be more than happy to share the slide deck afterwards. So if you'd like, feel free to just sit back and enjoy listening to the presentation. All right, so here's just an overview of what we'll be discussing today. So we'll do a quick introduction as to who ABC Life Literacy Canada is and what we do. How does ABC support adult learners? Our Youth Teaching Adults program and ABC Internet Matters program, which is our digital literacy program. Upskills for Work, our workplace literacy program. Money Matters, our financial literacy program. And the ABC Skills Hub. And then at the end, we'll have that Q&A section. But by all means, if a question does come up in the middle, feel free to type that in the chat box or go ahead and unmute yourself. So while we offer a wide variety of programs, we'll be specifically looking at our digital, workplace, and financial literacy programs. So I can do a really brief introduction to ABC Life Literacy Canada as an organization. Who we are and what we do. Keith already did a really great job explaining who we are. So really, ABC Life Literacy is here to support Canadian literacy practitioners. And we do that by providing and promoting free adult learning resources and programs. Before we talk about our resources, I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about how we learn as adults. So I don't know if others here are as fascinated by cognitive science as I am, but having an understanding of how we take in and process information as adults is beneficial for all of us to keep in mind, as it not only helps us to learn, but it also helps us to connect. All right. So I want to start us off by talking a little bit about how adults learn and how they may learn differently from traditional learners. Since many of you may already have experience with adult learners, I'll keep this brief, but this information is quite important as it very much affects how ABC programs and resources are structured. While there are certainly exceptions, when we talk about the traditional learner here, we're referring to individuals who are in elementary or high school, colleges, CEGEPs in Quebec, universities, and trade schools. So traditional learners are typically a little bit younger. Their learning environment is often a traditional classroom setting or an online classroom, often with one teacher running the class. While many traditional learners are, of course, adults, the adult learner we are discussing here is in many ways different than the traditional learner, and not simply because of a difference in age. We're going to look at how they learn, the reality of time constraints, and competing priorities for adult learners. One of the key aspects of understanding how adults learn is how the adult brain takes in information. Unlike kids, whose brains will soak up anything, adults learn differently. Learning has to be personally meaningful for adults to absorb it. So, what does that mean exactly? That means that for an adult to be able to take in information, their instructor, facilitator, or teacher or guide needs to determine how to make the information they're trying to impart relevant to the learner's experiences. Discussion-focused programs and materials are a great way for learners to make those connections between what they are learning and their own lives. You can contrast this with the more traditional learning style, which often places more emphasis on the memorization of facts and ideas. So lastly, adult learners, like most of us, learn best when the material is written with clear language and explanations. This allows the learners to easily absorb the lessons being taught, ultimately making them more engaged with the class. So in addition to learning differently, adult learners face a number of challenges that comes with being an adult learner. Ones that traditional, often younger learners don't typically have to worry about. These challenges often manifest as responsibilities and can include things like our work, our commitment to our families, prioritizing health, and our personal investment in our communities. Adult learners may also face stigma. These stigmas can be social, structural, and even self-constructed. Because of these stigmas, learners may feel as though they do not belong in a learning environment. Now that we have a better understanding of what challenges adult learners face, let's look at ABC's teaching philosophy and how it can help reduce or mitigate some of the challenges that comes with being an adult learner. Some of the key areas of our teaching philosophy speak to the following recommendations to withhold judgment. So given that adult learners might be dealing with a number of challenges, one of the most effective ways to support their success is by withholding judgment. Learners are more likely to thrive in a space where they feel safe and free from judgment. Emphasize confidentiality. Our programs are structured so that learners can engage in discussions without referencing their own knowledge or experiences if they don't want to, while still making the lessons personally meaningful. Say, I don't know. We encourage both learners and practitioners to acknowledge when they don't know something. It provides an opportunity for the class to discuss how to find an answer. So that kind of problem solving can be more valuable than a prepared answer. Make positive assumptions about your learners. So as we've seen, adult learners might be dealing with many challenges. It's important that we give them all the tools we can to be successful by assuming the best about them. Validate your learners' experiences. And finally, one of the most important things to do about working with adult learners is how to validate their opinions, feelings, and experiences, right? Depending on what an adult learner is learning about, they might become uncomfortable or even stressed. They might express strong feelings or thoughts as well. In these situations, it's very common for us to try to come up with solutions for the person sharing these difficult thoughts or emotions. When we're experiencing these types of strong feelings and thoughts, we're not able to think about solutions. It's best not to try to problem solve with someone when they're distressed, unless they request it. Instead, we recommend you validate what your learners are expressing. At ABC, we shape our resources through this understanding of how adults learn. Our programs are focused on providing safe spaces where learners can gain important literacy skills that are engaging and responsive to their needs. Through our programming, ABC offers a wide range of programs on different topics like cultural literacy, civic literacy, and family literacy, just to name a few. And like I said, I'm actually going to be specifically speaking to you about our digital, workplace, and financial literacy program. So I'd like to start us off with our first program, which is our Youth Teaching Adults program. So in light of COVID-19, it's become increasingly clear how important digital literacy is for staying connected. In order to help improve digital literacy skills amongst communities across Canada, here at ABC, we thought it'd be important to let you know about our digital literacy program, Youth Teaching Adults, otherwise known as YTA. The YTA program is a free digital literacy program where adult learners are taught basic digital literacy skills by either a youth volunteer tutor or facilitator in a safe and supportive one-on-one environment. The program aims to improve digital literacy skills in the adult and senior population. Adult learners decide what they want to learn and are encouraged to go at their own pace, creating workshops that cater to their specific learning goals. So what can I expect from a YTA workshop? Well, most organizations choose to run 4 YTA workshops. You can choose to run as many or as few as you'd like. Some organizations even choose to have like a one-off or an all-day event. The workshops can last however long you think is best. Our recommendation is for them to run from 60 to 90 minutes. Our workshops can also take place online or in person, and we don't have a minimum or maximum number of learners required to participate. One-on-one learning, so that's one learner to one facilitator or tutor per session, is still considered a workshop. So if you're running 3 different one-on-one workshops, that's considered 3 separate workshops. Oh, fabulous. Thank you for including the link. So YT was originally designed to pair a youth volunteer with an adult learner. In light of COVID-19, and in order to ensure physical distancing measures in many communities across Canada, ABC will temporarily not be connecting adult organizations with youth groups. However, if you're currently working with a youth group that is interested in online tutoring, YT might be a really great fit. Otherwise, practitioners are more than welcome to take on that role of facilitator/tutor. We have over 50 lesson plans for learners to choose from, with lessons covering desktop, laptops, smartphones, tablets on both iOS and Android devices. With COVID-19, a large amount of programs, classes, and gatherings were brought online, leaving many learners anxious about this transition and even experiencing increased feelings of social isolation. So in order to help learners increase their confidence with using these new digital platforms and to continue to stay connected with their friends and families and peers, we actually launched a number of new lesson plans, which you can actually find when you visit youthteachingadults.ca, so /resources. So Keith has so kindly put in the link already. So in addition to our previous lessons on WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, we now also offer lesson plans on FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, and Google Duo, so platforms that are widely used by organizations who are adapting their programs for online delivery, as well as widely used by individuals just to stay connected. So in addition, along with these new lesson plans, we've also created a new way of delivering our lesson plans that are supportive of more independent learning. So our Learn on Your Own lesson plans directly addresses the learner. Facilitators can, of course, use these lesson plans for their learners, but it's also just a great learning tool for learners who would like to learn or improve their digital literacy skills on their own at home. So these are the resources provided when you book your YT workshop. So you'll receive digital copies of all the lesson plans, links to the free online facilitator and volunteer tutor training. So this training takes about 60 to 90 minutes to complete and can really be done at your own time. You can start, resume, pause at any time of the training. Organizations can also have an ABC staff member facilitate their first virtual YTA workshop. So this is kind of a great way to see how our workshops could run. So just a heads up, throughout the month of July, ABC will actually be hosting a number of virtual YTA workshops on the topic of online safety and how to be informed online. So if you're interested in participating, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to give you some additional details about that. You'll also receive certificates for your adult learners and your volunteer tutors, as well as fillable PDF posters to help you promote the program in your community. Lastly, you'll also receive a checklist to help facilitators prepare for their first workshop. I'm also really pleased to inform you that ABC will send an electronic gift card of $100 your way. Whether you're running YTA for the first time or the 50th time, you'll receive a gift card for your organization after running your workshops. You may choose to spend the gift card on treats for your learners, supplies for your organization, or put it towards purchasing technology or apps for your next YTA workshop. It's really up to you and your organization. Organizations whose learners attend our July YTA workshops on online safety will also be eligible for this gift card as well.
Ellie, I have a question. So are you saying then that if, I don't know, let's say the Prince Albert Multicultural Council runs one of these workshops, you'll send us money?
Yeah, we'll send you money. And that's kind of a theme for a lot of our programs. We will send you an honorarium as just like an added thank you for running our programs.
So my question, I guess my big question would be, how can you afford to do all this stuff? Because that's very generous.
So we receive funding in part with the Government of Canada, as well as in partnership with another organization called Youth Empowering Parents. And then we also work with the DLEP. So I can give you more information on that. But basically, we have funders, both corporate and government, helping sponsor these programs. And they're just, basically, they just want to get these programs out there. So the more people that we are able to reach through our workshops, the more funding we get to deliver even more. So it's a nice cyclical program. All right. So yeah, I will be talking a little bit more about honorariums for our other programs because we do offer them. There's just a couple of differences with regards to eligibility. But for the YTA program, we really don't have any stipulations. Basically, after you run your workshop, just as an added thank you, we will send you that $100 electronic gift card.
Now, I do know that with the Prince Albert Literacy Network, they run, one of your other programs, the Money Matters things. They do ask that the participants do a pre-workshop survey and then a post-workshop survey. Is there a similar thing for the youth teaching adults?
Yep, so really great question. So for the youth teaching adults program, we do have a pre and post workshop surveys that we encourage learners to take part in. It's just a really great way for us to hear what's going great or what we can do better on. However, it is not a requirement or a mandatory aspect of receiving that honorarium or electronic gift card. But we do highly recommend or encourage learners to complete them. Right. So once again, I will be sending out this slide deck to Keith, who can maybe send these out to everybody attending or registered to attend so that you'll have these links with you. So basically, to book a workshop, all you'll need to do is follow the link above and complete the online host a workshop form, or simply just email me. That's fine as well. Once your workshop is booked, you'll immediately receive a confirmation email with instructions for next steps. So you'll be sent links to both the online facilitator training and the volunteer training. So please feel free to share the volunteer training with your volunteers and the facilitator training with your facilitators. Or if your facilitators are also taking on the role of volunteer, you're more than welcome to share both links with them as well. So these training links will give you all the information and tools that you and your tutors will need to successfully run your workshops. So in addition to having all the lesson plans, you and your volunteer tutors will also be given tips and best practices for running the workshops and working with adult learners. So the facilitator training will also include information about how to work and support youth volunteer tutors as well. You'll also find some tips and information on how previous organizations have successfully run YTA workshops, why they chose to run them, who they partnered with, and what device they used. So I would love to share a quick case study of a Toronto shelter that used the YTA program to develop digital literacy skills for a community of marginalized women. So the organization Street Haven Toronto at the Crossroads delivered the program and actually continues to deliver the program till this day. And they deliver the program for women who experience or are at risk of experiencing homelessness. So the organization had a computer access program that was available to the community. However, many of the learners were unable to fully utilize this resource due to their skills gap when it came to using technology. So the organization, prior to the shutdown, their solution was to run 4 workshops across 4 weeks to about 6 learners per workshop. Learners were paired with a volunteer, and each workshop was tailored to the learner's needs. While some learners needed help using a tablet, others needed help with resumes and email applications. Below, so I've just put down a testimonial from the practitioner whose learners really appreciated the individualized aspect of the program. All right. So I'm also really excited to tell you about ABC's other digital literacy program, ABC Internet Matters. So this program was created in partnership with the Canadian Bankers Association. So the program is a free bilingual workbook that offers introductory digital literacy material that's perfect for learners who are either new to the internet or may have faced barriers getting online. So the workbook is 8 pages. So it's 8 pages in English and 8 pages in French, and offers an introduction to topics like how can I get online, what can I do online, and how can I stay safe online. So as an added bonus, we're offering gift cards to the first 50 practitioners and the first 250 learners who complete an online survey after using the workbook. So get in touch with your regional community coordinator to learn more about these gift cards if you're interested. So providing the absolute foundations for internet use and ensuring that your learners use the internet safely is a great way to kickstart your YTA workshops. We recommend sharing these resources with your learners before running your YTA workshops, but it's also just a great way to leave them out for your community to take. So you can go ahead and order your free workbooks by clicking that link there. Keith has also kindly put it in the link in the chat box as well. So we will cover the cost of the workbooks as well as the shipping costs as well. Take a look at that website because we do have additional digital activities such as getting around with Google Maps, creating strong passwords, and staying safe online with secure websites. And those are available for PDF download through that link in the chat. All right, so I'm now just going to move on to our next program, which is our workplace literacy program, Upskills for Work. So Upskills for Work is a free introductory soft skills program delivered to adult learners at community organizations and workplaces across Canada. But what are soft skills exactly? Well, soft skills are ways of acting or thinking that make it easier to work well with other people. Sometimes they're called people skills, and in Upskills for Work, we focus on soft skills that are most in demand with employers. So why are employability skills important? Workers who participated in essential skills training were nearly 25% more likely to report a reduction in their work-related stress levels than those who had not received this type of training. While this is a workplace literacy program, Upskills for Work isn't just limited for workplaces. We've given workshops to secondary school students as well. The skills taught in this program are applicable for basically all aspects of life. So we currently have 9 workbooks available, with each workbook covering a different soft skill. These 9 soft skills have been identified by employers as the most important for employability. These 9 skills are highly transferable life skills and can help individuals find, keep, and enjoy their jobs. While each workbook does build on one another, They can all be used independently. So you can pick and choose which workbook would be of most interest to your learners. And our workbooks are available in English and French. We'll also be adding a whole series of new workbooks that align with the new Government of Canada Skills for Success. So you'll see there is a bit of overlap right now, but we are working to better align it with that new government outline. So why offer the program? Well, as I mentioned, employers have identified the 9 soft skills included in the program as the most sought after skills. We're confident that your learners will increase their job prospects if they're looking for work or become better employees if they already have a job. Next, it's discussion-based and accessible. So those of you who have hosted ABC workshops before will know that we emphasize a conversational, informal teaching style as opposed to the classic lecture style. We find this makes learning a lot more inclusive, accessible, and not as intimidating. That means that a lot of what you'll learn about will be from another person in the workshop with you, which gives everyone the opportunity to be both the teacher and the learner. Of course, it's free, so we send you all the materials necessary well before the workshop. And once again, we provide you with that online training. So no need to be an expert on soft skills to lead this program. We send you the link to our online training once you've booked your workshops. One new exciting piece we're offering that I'm thrilled to tell you about is that we are now offering workshop delivery support for new organizations who are running their first Upskills for Work workshops. So what that means is that if you're running your first ever Upskills for Work workshop, your regional community coordinator can facilitate or co-facilitate the workshop along with you. So you get a sense to see how a workshop is run and how it can look. So we are offering this extra support for online workshops only. We kindly ask that organizations just give us 6 to 8 weeks notice before their first workshop date. All right. So what can I expect from Upskills for Work? Well, each workshop is typically 60 to 90 minutes long. However, the workshop is highly flexible and can be adapted for your learners' needs. So you're more than welcome to shorten, skip, or elaborate activities, or even merge it with already existing employment programs at your organization. The workshops are designed to be discussion-based rather than lecture, like I mentioned. So we really want to get a conversation going with individuals learning from one another. There aren't any right or wrong answers in these workshops. It's really all about that self-reflection. The workbooks are also highly accessible, written at a literacy level of 2 or a grade 6 to 8 reading level. Our workbooks are also written ready to deliver. So this means that anyone can simply pick up the book, read the questions aloud, and then start their workshop from there. That isn't to say we'll just hand you the workbook and send you on your way though. Once again, we'll provide you and your staff with that free online training that can be completed anytime before your first workshop. Once you've booked your workshops with us, along with the digital copy of our workbooks, we'll also send you physical copies of the workbooks to distribute amongst your learners and staff attending the workshop. We'll also send you a few additional digital resources such as learner certificates, once again, promotional posters and tip sheets, basically everything you need to run your workshop. And another bullet point that I did miss on this slide is that we are offering an honorarium of $50 per workshop run upon the return of our pre and post workshop learner surveys. And this is available so long as we have funds. All right, so how do I book a workshop? Well, to book a workshop, you'll simply once again fill out a host a workshop form from the Upskills for Work website. So it'll look very similar to the YTA host a workshop form. And once that's done, you'll receive a confirmation email from your region's coordinator with links to the training, additional materials, and next steps. So it's really that easy. All right. So We're now going to be looking at our final program for today, which is our Money Matters program, ABC's financial literacy program. So financial literacy has always been something that many learners either struggle with or are really interested in learning more about. Heck, it's even something that I'm constantly interested in learning more about, right? Maybe a learner has a job and they want to learn how they can use their income to better plan for their future. Or maybe a learner is really struggling with their finances, but doesn't know what steps to take, or they're hesitant to go to a bank for help. Why is this financial literacy aspect so important now more than ever? Well, according to a poll conducted by Ipsos in November of 2020, they found that 46% of Canadian respondents reported that their family's financial situation has been negatively impacted by COVID-19. People who have higher levels of financial confidence tend to have better results with day-to-day money and debt management than those with low level of confidence. Money Matters was therefore created to help learners increase their confidence when managing their money. Money Matters is a free financial literacy program developed for adult learners to introduce them to the fundamentals of personal finance and to develop their confidence in managing their money. So that confidence piece is quite key to this program. So we're not so much concerned that learners will memorize all the formulas and ways to track percentages and interests. It's more so developing that confidence piece so that if they do have questions, they know who they can reach out to. So there are 3 programs within the Money Matters suite. We have Money Matters Core, or it's also just called Money Matters, which is designed for the general adult learner. We have Money Matters for Indigenous peoples, which is designed for learners from the Indigenous community. And we have Money Matters for people with diverse abilities, which is designed for learners with a variety of intellectual, verbal, physical, and non-physical capabilities. So within each program are a number of workbooks, each covering a different financial literacy topic. So let's take a look at what workbooks each program contains. All right, so let's start with the core version of Money Matters. So this is actually a newer and updated version. We've incorporated some of the feedback we received from organizations who have run this program in the past, on which themes and activities worked and which ones didn't. We've also made updates and changes based on learner feedback. So for those of you who have run this program in the past, one change you'll notice is that our Money Matters for newcomers and new Canadians has actually merged into the content with the core program. So this core program is made up of 4 workbooks, each focusing on a different area of financial literacy. The workbooks are independent of one another, and we encourage host organizations to choose whichever workbooks will suit their learners best. While most organizations choose to run all 4 workbooks, you may run any combination of the workbook on offer. So we have workbook 1, which is on spending plans and budgeting. So this workbook covers information about defining needs and wants, as well as creating those spending plans and understanding how to create a budget. Our workbook 2 is banking basics. So this workbook covers information such as personal bank accounts, percentages and interests. So there's information about safer loans versus riskier loans and how interest adds up over time, as well as your money rights. Workbook 3, borrowing money. So it looks at how to borrow money in a smart way. It talks about good credit versus bad credit, as well as credit history, as well as ways to prevent your debt from getting too big. Our last workbook, workbook 4, is on ways to save. So this workbook talks about how to save, money goals, and thinking about what you're saving for, whether that be education, emergencies, a big purchase, or retirement, for example. And it covers topics like TFSA accounts, RESP accounts, and so forth. So at the beginning of each workbook, there is a self-assessment quiz to get the learner thinking about their personal situation and the goals they would like to achieve by the end. So these workbooks are available in English, French, Arabic, and simplified Chinese. So our next program is the Money Matters for Indigenous Peoples, which covers much of the same financial content of the core program. So that is spending plans, banking basics, borrowing, and ways to save. But what's different about this program? Well, when adapting the program, we worked with an Indigenous group at TD Bank Aboriginal Circle to make sure the program was well suited for the Indigenous community. So there are adapted character stories, there's new artwork, there's also additional training with information specific to working with Indigenous learners. So our most recent Money Matters program is our Money Matters for People with Diverse Abilities. So this program is an introduction to money management for adult learners with a variety of diverse abilities. So our workbooks, there are 6 within the program, and it covers topics such as what is a bank, ways to pay, needs, wants, and spending plans, how to use an ATM, understanding your paycheck, and money safety. So all 6 include stories with relatable characters, clear language and design so they're easy to read, as well as engaging activities to practice what the learners have learned. So what can a practitioner expect from the Money Matters program? So like our Upskills for Work program, the Money Matters program is very much discussion focused, with learners sharing their thoughts and experiences as part of that learning process. Money Matters is highly flexible and can really be adapted to the needs of your learners. So one of the most common questions we get about the Money Matters workshop is who will facilitate our workshop, right? So there are a couple of options. So when you book your Money Matters workshop, you'll once again have access to our free online practitioner training. And this training will vary depending on which program you select. So we have specific training to each one of our Money Matter programs. Our workbooks are also once again written ready to deliver. So our workbooks alongside our facilitator training will help prepare you to deliver the workshops. So that's why you don't really need to be a financial literacy expert. Your job will really be to facilitate and encourage discussions that arise from your learners. The most important thing for a facilitator to bring to their Money Matters workshop is their personality, sense of compassion, humor, and commitment. Skills and traits that they already bring to their workshops and programs. That being said, practitioners are sometimes still hesitant to facilitate our Money Matters workshop in comparison to our Youth Teaching Adults or Upskills for Work program. Many practitioners have some experience with things like stress management or creating an email account, topics that they can teach to their learners. But with financial literacy, it can be a bit more daunting to take on that role of practitioner. So if you're still not comfortable facilitating a workshop, another option is to have a TD volunteer facilitate your virtual workshops, which you can request on the online hosted workshop form. So this provides learners who may feel intimidated by bankers a chance to interact with them in a less formal setting. It also gives the opportunity for learners to ask any banking questions that they might have. Furthermore, organizations can request TD volunteers with specialized skills, whether that be speaking a specific language or working with a particular learner group. So we're actually in Indigenous History Month. And as part of that, we've actually teamed up with a number of TD staff members from their Indigenous Trust Services to help deliver a number of Money Matters for Indigenous Peoples workshops. So instances like that, we'll do our very best to connect you with a TD volunteer that best suits your learners' needs. Please note that if you'd like to have a TD volunteer facilitate your workshop, kindly let us know 4 to 6 weeks in advance, just so that we can connect with our pool of TD volunteers and get them accustomed to the workbook content. You also have for the TD volunteers, you can request them as many times as you like, whether that be your first workshop or your 100th workshop. Another option is to have an ABC staff once again help deliver your first workshop. And this is once again a really great way to show how our workshops can run on a virtual setting. So the workshops typically take 60 to 90 minutes. But once again, this is really up to what you think is best for your learners. Some organizations will choose to break up a workbook into 2 separate sessions, so 2 like 30-minute sessions, while others will just reduce their workshop to 45 minutes if they're running it online. We've also created a number of resources and tools to help deliver your workshops remotely. So please feel free to reach out if you're interested in how we can support your transition to remote learning. For every workshop run and upon the return of our learner pre and post workshop salaries, you'll once again receive a check from us or an honorarium for us between $25 to $50 per workshop run. So this amount will depend on which of the Money Matters programs you decide to run. And like our Upskills for Work program, along with digital copies of our workbooks, we'll also send free hard copies of the workbooks for both your learners and staff. We'll also provide some additional resources, once again, like a digital fillable promotional poster or learner certificates upon the completion of your workshops. So how do I book a workshop? Well, if you'd like to book your Money Matters workshop, once again, you'll simply fill out a host a workshop form on the Money Matters website. So this will look very similar to our Upskills for Work and Youth Teaching Adults host a workshop forms. Once that's done, you'll once again receive a confirmation email from your region's community coordinator within 1 to 2 days. 1 to 2 business days with links to the training, additional materials, and next steps. So we frequently review the feedback we receive from practitioners, TD volunteers, and learners. This allows us to continually update and improve our programs to better meet the needs of learners. So we'll just share some of these testimonials from practitioners and learners about the program. So here are some testimonials from literacy practitioners who ran our Money Matters workshops. So we have one practitioner who said, really good stuff, and so very open to all levels of experience. I love the way it isn't condescending, especially with language. Another practitioner mentioned, the workshop was a great learning tool for our participants. The TD volunteers were very knowledgeable and relatable. The presenters gave the participants really good sound information and advice to better manage their money. We also love hearing how Money Matters have impacted learners' lives, and we think you will too. So some of the learners have said, Money Matters has been helping me feel more confident that I will be able to handle my finances more responsibly, and it's actually making me, it is making me actually look forward to the future. Another learner mentioned, I'm very thankful to be in this program. It's really helping me learn about my financial situation. Now I'm going to open an RESP, TFSA, and RRSP. All right. So right before we wrap up today, and like I mentioned at the very beginning, I'd like to quickly talk about the ABC Skills Hub. So the ABC Skills Hub is a free online learning platform that was created for adult learners and practitioners. So the platform helps learners basically learn anywhere and at their own pace. It's an asynchronous learning tool that educators and practitioners can integrate with workshop program delivery, especially once our practitioner portal launches. This will allow facilitators to allow groups to create free accounts, assign teachers, and create accounts for their students. So our plan right now is to have that practitioner backend up and running sometime in the fall. A variety of our programs are available on the platform already, with more being added all the time. And we've also begun adding courses that align with the new Skills for Success learning model. So if you have the time, I would highly recommend checking out the ABC Skills Hub. It's completely free. You'll just have to make an account. All right, so we've come to the end of the presentation. So thank you for joining me today. And once again, a huge thank you to the Saskatchewan Career Development Association for inviting me here to speak with you. I'd love to take a few minutes to answer any questions about any of the resources I've shared with you today, or if there are any particular resources or programs that your organization or community are looking for, please let me know. We're always interested to hear how we can support our literacy practitioners and their communities that they serve. So feel free to unmute yourself or type your questions in the chat box. I will give everybody a moment.
Thank you, Ellie, for your presentation. As she said, if you do have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat window. Now, I know that what has been the level of buy-in, I guess, across Canada for these programs?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So we've delivered these programs. It's kind of insane, the number. So last year alone, I think we delivered about 936. I just delivered a presentation on this. Money Matters workshops alone. Upskills for work, I don't remember the exact number, but it's usually, I would say it's pretty close to the same amount, about close to that 1,000 mark as well. We're really trying to reach basically as many organizations and learners as possible, whether they are in remote communities or more urban centers. We're happy to get those resources out there.
Now, what do you see as the link between what ABC does with what career development practitioners do specifically? You had alluded to the Skills for Success update on the Essential Skills Framework, but how do you envision a career development practitioner, say, who works at a university, how could they utilize these programs?
Yeah, another great question. So we have had a number of practitioners who work in colleges or post-secondary institutions use our program in the past. So especially our Upskills for Work program, they find it incredibly helpful for learners or to incorporate these programs into their already existing programs, because it seems to be there was a real gap in soft skill development. A lot of organizations, they noted that there are a lot of resources on like how to find jobs and like resume building, but there wasn't a whole lot of resources available that focused on those soft skills. They're kind of thought of as almost like everybody has them and we don't really need to develop them. When in fact, like things like motivation and stress management, those are skills that we do need to work on, and it is a lifelong training process. So a lot of institutions, especially I find apprenticeships and trades programs have been very appreciative of these programs.
I agree with your comment about the level of flexibility. The way that I've integrated it into the STAGE program in Prince Albert is we often feature guest speakers every Thursday, but kind of in the lead up before the guest speaker, we want to kind of get them in the headspace of thinking about important topics. So it's been useful to integrate the upskills modules there. And of course, addressing soft skills and transferable skills. I really like the fact that, for instance, with the time management program, it gave realistic and authentic style case studies, and also it ended with strategies and tips that the learners could integrate into their personal practice. So especially when we're trying to teach people to develop positive habits of mind in their participation in the classroom, delivering that particular module in the first week was very effective.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. Yeah, I've had a lot of practitioners mention that they like the programs because they're quite bare boned if you look at them at first glance, but really that learning takes place when learners are engaged and talking and having those discussions and bouncing ideas off of one another, right? They're much more likely to absorb that information if they're part of that conversation and part of that teaching style. So I've had a lot of great feedback from practitioners who just love the conversational tone of the workshops. Oh,
Have you, can you give us a look in the crystal ball? What's kind of in the future for ABC? Like, do you have any exciting new projects? Obviously, the Skills Hub is continually being developed. What are some
yeah.
other exciting projects you're working on?
Yeah, that Skills Hub piece has been, it was actually always on the back of our mind for a while, and then COVID happened and it got pushed to the very beginning of our list of things to do, just because there was that need for online learning or online support. But yeah, with that new Skills for Success model as well, we are revamping our Upskills for Work program. So we'll be developing quite a few new workbooks. I believe 9 is the number. I don't have an exact timeline on that yet. But if you do go onto the ABC Skills Hub, some of those Skills for Success, Skills for Success, what are they called? Guidelines are there. So there is like numeracy and reading up on the ABC Skills Hub right now. In addition, we are revamping our Money Matters for Indigenous Peoples program. So that is getting an update. It's almost on the finishing stages, so we're hoping to have that released by the end of summer. But yeah, our most Money Matters for Indigenous Peoples workshops that we've been hosting in connection with the National Indigenous History Month has been an awesome initiative that I got to take part of. Actually, for this entire month, I had one yesterday. And it was just really great to be working with TD volunteers from the Indigenous Trust Services and sharing their experiences and working with learners from the Indigenous communities that we serve. So a lot of great initiatives happening. And if there's something that organizations are planning to host, we're more than welcome to help support that.
So I'll put out a last call here to our participants. If there are any other questions for Ellie. Now, if they wanted to get in touch with you, I see on the presentation you've got the slide up with your phone number and email.
Yes.
What have you learned, being part of ABC? Because I think you mentioned only recently joining this organization.
Yeah, so great question. So I actually only recently joined this region for the organization. So I was previously the community coordinator for Ontario. And it's interesting hearing the different dynamics of how nonprofits work or literacy organizations work in the different regions. So in Toronto, we had a very, it's interesting because there were so many nonprofits in Toronto. They seemed, they're not as collaborative in comparison to other regions. So I found in Saskatchewan, there are a little bit more pockets of those partnerships and collaborations going on between organizations. So it's been really interesting to hear how literacy groups vary and how they're a little bit different. Each one has their own kind of unique way they run. So it's been really fun kind of exploring that, as well as like the different umbrella organizations that people are a part of. So I've been having a great time just like learning about all the great work that organizations have been doing in Western and Northern Canada.
Well, let me just express my appreciation to you, Ellie, for a fantastic presentation. I think you've opened a few eyes as to just kind of the scope and breadth of resources that ABC Life Literacy has to offer. And I encourage everyone here, certainly reach out to Ellie, send her an email or give her a call, let her know how their resources might fit in with your organization. I know we've got a couple reps from Regina Open Door Society. Rachel, I don't know, do you care to unmute yourself and share your comment? Like, how do you see yourself potentially applying this stuff?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I need some time to go through all of the material and the links that have been shared. I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to learn about them. I'm sure that they will definitely come in handy as I'm teaching the career bridging program at the Regina Open Door, and I was actively looking for resources related to soft skills. And this is, I think it looks great up to now, like of what I've seen. I think that definitely I will share also these resources with my colleagues so that they, would know more about ABC Life Literacy and all of the resources that are available on like free resources available. We always, like as instructors and teachers, we always look for that, things that are available online for free to assist and help newcomers, especially within our that are signed up with our organization. And I just had one thing that I wanted to ask about. So I was just recently looking into video interviews, like now with the new job market and things being online. I was hoping to see if there were any other, let's say, resources to exemplify what, like recorded responses would be like, or, like video interviews or things like that. So that's something that is interesting.
Yeah, and that's a really good question. So just from my understanding, we don't really have any resources on that right now, but it's great feedback to hear. But another great thing about being a national organization is that we have such great networks. And I'm already thinking on the top of my head about organizations who are similarly looking at like that video conferencing element to employability. I'd be happy to send you like a connecting email or like additional resources from my
That would be great. That would be great. Thank you so much. I will definitely be reaching out to you in the next days and hoping to see some, any response or any help that you can provide in that area.
Fabulous. My absolute pleasure. Yes, and I know it's a lot of content that I threw at you in a fairly short amount of time. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Like Keith said, if you have any questions, either by phone call or email, or if you'd like to schedule a Zoom call, I'm more than happy to chat anytime.
I will take some time to review the content, hopefully today and a little bit tomorrow, and see if I have any things that I can add to my email to you. Thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Now, just by way of follow-up, I'll let you and the others present know that we have recorded this session, so it will be available in its entirety on the SKCDA YouTube channel. As well, on the SKCDA website, we'll dedicate a page to sharing the resources and links that were talked about in the session. So once again, Ellie, thank you for your time this afternoon. And to everyone who attended this session, thank you very much. And thank you for joining us with the SKCDA Lunch and Learn series. You may or may not have been eating lunch, but I definitely hope you were learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a great afternoon. Bye.